Hello and welcome. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the absolute heart of the world's largest democracy, the Indian Parliament. Think of this as your personal user's guide to this incredibly powerful institution. We're going to explore its structure, its rules, and of course, the immense power it holds. So let's get right into it. Calling it the engine room is spot on. This is the supreme legislative body. It's where the nation's future is debated, decided, and ultimately shaped. And this engine? Well, it's powered by two very distinct houses, both working together to write the laws that govern over 1 billion people. So at its core, the Indian Parliament is bicameral, which is really just a fancy way of saying it has two chambers. On one side, you have the Lok Sabha, which literally translates to the House of the People, directly representing all of us, the citizens. And on the other side, you've got the Rajya Sabha, the Council of the States, which, you guessed it, represents the interests of India's diverse states. Two houses, two very different jobs. Okay, so who actually gets a seat in these powerful chambers? Let's peel back the layers and look at the composition of each house and, what it really takes to become a member of this pretty exclusive club. First off, let's just talk about sheer scale. The Lok Sabha is the big one, with a maximum strength of 550 members. The Rajya Sabha, on the other hand, is smaller, with a cap of 250. And this size difference isn't random. It's a direct reflection of their very different roles in the whole democratic process. So, this table really puts the key differences side by side. Notice the age requirements. You have to be at least 25 to get into the Lok Sabha, but you need to be 30 for the Rajya Sabha. But the most interesting thing on this slide, the real head-scratcher, is that the Rajya Sabha is a permanent house. What on earth does that mean? Right? That phrase probably caught your eye. It sounds a little weird, doesn't it? A permanent house in a democracy that's all about change and elections? How does that even work? Well, the answer is all about one word: continuity. See, unlike the Lok Sabha, which can be completely dissolved to make way for fresh elections, the Rajya Sabha is never, ever empty. It's designed to be this continuous body that provides stability and a kind of legislative memory, no matter how the political winds might be shifting outside. And this is just a brilliant way to see how that continuity is maintained. Think of it like a relay race. Every 2 years, 1/3 of the members finish their 6-year term and they pass the baton to new members. This clever system makes sure the House always has this great mix of experienced veterans and fresh perspectives. So now we know who's in the room, but how is order actually maintained? I mean, with hundreds of passionate representatives debating really high-stakes issues, things can get, well, a little lively. Let's look at the crucial rules of the House that keep the whole show on the road. It's a fair question, right? You've got passionate debates, huge stakes, and incredibly strong opinions all in one room. Without a firm hand and some very clear rules, it would be pretty much impossible to get anything done. It would just be chaos. The answer, at least for the House of the People, is the Speaker. And what's so crucial here is that the Speaker isn't some outsider. They are elected by the members of the Lok Sabha from among themselves. They act as the House's impartial guide and referee. And believe me, the Speaker has a very powerful whistle. They maintain order, they can suspend members for getting out of line, and, this is absolutely critical, they have the sole authority to decide if a bill is a money bill. That one power, the power to certify, is politically huge, as we're about to see. All right, now for a key rule of the game: quorum. It's simple, really. Just like you can't have a proper match without enough players on the field, Parliament can't conduct business without a minimum number of members in attendance. And that minimum number? That's called the quorum. And the magic number is 1/10. For any business to actually proceed in either house, at least 10% of its total members have to be physically present. If the attendance drops below that line, the presiding officer rings a bell. And if there's still no quorum, the session is adjourned. It's simple: no quorum, no business. So, a typical day in Parliament is actually very structured. The very first hour is the famous question hour. This is a vital tool for government accountability where members can grill ministers on pretty much any aspect of their work. That's followed by 0 hour, which is a uniquely Indian innovation. It's a much more free-willing session where members can raise urgent public issues without any prior notice. And now we get to the main event: making laws and controlling the country's money. This is where the real power of Parliament is on full display, and it's where the differences between the two houses become incredibly important. You see, when it comes to money, the Lok Sabha, The House, directly elected by the people, has the final say, period. A money bill, which deals with stuff like taxes or government spending, can only start there. Once the Speaker certifies it, that bill gets put on an express lane. The Rajya Sabha gets just 14 days to look at it, but it cannot reject it or amend it. This gives the government of the day immense power. And yeah, it has sometimes led to some big controversies over what truly qualifies as a money bill. But don't count the Rajya Sabha out just yet. As the Council of States, it holds some really unique powers that are designed to protect India's federal structure. For instance, it can authorize the national parliament to make laws on subjects normally reserved only for states. And it holds the exclusive power to kickstart the creation of new All India services. We're talking the country's top civil services like the IAS and IPS, which are basically the administrative backbone of the entire nation. And finally, we come to some of Parliament's gravest responsibilities. These are powers that act as the ultimate check on the other branches of government, making sure no single part becomes too powerful. This is where Parliament almost puts on its judge's robes, so to speak. It holds the awesome power to impeach the president for violating the Constitution, and it has the authority to remove judges of the highest courts in the land. Now, these are powers that are used very, very rarely, but their mere existence is an absolute cornerstone of India's constitutional balance. So, we've seen the very distinct roles of both houses, right? The Lok Sabha's dominance in money matters, which is rooted in its direct popular vote, and then the Rajya Sabha's role as this house of continuity and a guardian of states' rights. This delicate balance leaves us with one fascinating question. In that dynamic tug of war between the direct will of the people and the federal character of the states, where does the ultimate power truly lie? Thanks for joining me on this tour of the Indian Parliament.